I have to say congratulations to you first. I forgot to say congratulations to you because why? You are now the head coach of Indonesian men's national team. I mean, winning a title is one thing, but being asked to lead a national team, that's a different kind of pressure. So what went through your head when you got the call to coach the national team?
Oh, I probably think the first thing I thought was, is this really happening right now? That's the first thing I was thinking because, people know me here. I think a lot of people would have the sentiment to say, hey, he should have probably been the coach, or they should have gave him a chance a while ago after, a couple coaches of the year. And I thought the same thing too, but no disrespect to any other coaches. I just always thought at least I should be involved in the program, in some way, shape, or form, because I understand the players so well here. But with that being said, I think that was my first initial thing was, is this really happening? And then I was thinking, man, about time, because for a long time I was thinking, man, I know I could do a good job here. And I don't know if it's going to be a championship or gold medal in every level or every single time. That's not easy or predictable. I think there's so many other great countries in Malaysia and Thailand and Philippines, and even Vietnam will probably be rising up soon. So, there's great competition level. But when it comes to just leading the program and pushing this Indonesia basketball in the right direction, I believe that I can really help with that. Number one, like we discussed before, with the mentality, the mindset, the system, the rules, the details, all of those things, I think the program has been missing a bit of the past. And I think also playing the style that I think suits Indonesia, which I think, we're going to try to bring here as well. So I was, so happy, man. I think it was a long time coming. I had a lot of people in my in my Puera family and also the IBL family that had been pushing for me to be it. I got to first of all, I do got to give a lot of credit to my coaches. I think without them, they've been a part of all my coaches of the years, and really helped me see the game, in different ways maybe that I don't see. But they have been big, pushers of me and also holding me accountable. So, everybody that was involved to get me to this point, I'm really happy. And, I hope I'm going to do the best job that I can do,
I'm happy for you too, man. Because when I saw the news, wow, I was like, wow, it's been a long time coming. Finally.
Yes, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So it was great. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. But let's be real, right? What are the biggest invisible challenges Indonesian basketball is facing right now? Because you have so many competitors around in these regions. You have
Yes.
Thailand, Philippines, maybe Malaysia, Singapore.
Yeah. No, that's the biggest thing. I think again, this country, along with a lot of other countries outside of Philippines and Thailand, the basketball is really starting to grow fast. There's more interest. I think more kids are playing at a younger age and being trained maybe better than I was in my past, or just different ways. I think being around the game more. But I will say that it's still not at the same level as those countries, when it comes to how advanced those countries are in the game of basketball, and just also how many players they have to choose from. I mean, you look at a country like Philippines, I mean, they've done a great job in getting so many Phil Ams, right? Throughout such a long time, as well as having, really high quality local players, Filipinos. They just been doing this for such a long time. They've been playing professional basketball all the way back, I think, even to the 80s. So, I think just being a little bit behind the eight ball when it comes to that, just maybe just the player development. Some of it is size. I think Indonesia is starting to get better and finding more kids with some more size, but continuing to push that method and create that youth programs all around, and being able to touch each provincial city, all the provinces around Indonesia, to develop those pipelines of players, so nobody gets lost in the mix. But yeah, I think that's the most the initial thing, and then I think it's always going to come down to mindset. I think I'm a big believer in that too. I think countries like Philippines, just like we've talked about, it's an expectation to win. They come into this place and they're like, we I don't know how many time winner they are, I probably got to do my research, but it's a lot. And they've always represented Asia, pretty much every year, even World Cups, they're trying to obviously push maybe potentially for the Olympics, stuff like that. And so that's the standard. Is that going to happen next year or even, next week? Probably not for Indonesia, but are we pushing and chasing for that? Absolutely. And we're just trying to close the gap in any way that we can. So I think one of the things that I'm going to definitely try to bring is a mindset and mentality to understand that we can go up against these teams. It's not impossible. I.e., our country did do it in Vietnam in the 2022, I believe, SEA Games, and was able to conquer the Philippines in the final. But it's going to always be an uphill battle against those couple countries because they've done a great job of not only having great locals, but also having the mixed bloods and doing a good job of keeping them in their programs and developing them. So that's going to be the challenge. And there's going to be a lot of challenges, man. It's not going to be some sort of, overnight success story. It's going to be just like anything that I've ever done in my Prawira or Saigon Heat. There's always going to be a process. In my Prawira in year 2, I won a championship. In my Saigon Heat in year 4, I won a championship. So all of that has been somewhat of a process, Yeah.
Just now you mentioned about a bigger talent pool in Philippines. How about Indonesia? Because I think I saw the team list, like preliminary team list, like
Yes.
50 players, something like that.
Right. Yeah, we ended up picking 45 from the IBL, and then we also have an extra list for naturalized and heritage players. We don't know yet what the rules are going to be from Thailand. So we don't know if they're going to allow naturalized or heritage or what they're going to allow. So we have to wait for that. But for now, we wanted to create a competitive environment around the national team. I think right now what we've seen in Indonesia is some of the big clubs like Satria Muda. They're 11-time champion in this country. So they've won a lot of times, and Pelita Jaya's obviously winning and being in the BCL, and they do a lot of big things. Most of the players come from those teams. And what we wanted to create is, we have to touch the entire league. There's really good players from all over the league, and we have to give all these guys a shot and understand that they're being watched. So this list is not essentially that we're going to come with 45 players to a training camp, but we are going to say, hey, you guys are on the list. We've noticed you, and we're going to keep watching you as the season goes on and continue to do well and compete and try to perform and show that you are worthy of, making it to a national team training camp. So that's what we did. Within that, I think we are starting to find more players with size, even in our league. There's a lot more lengthy players, tall players, specific players, specialists, as well as, Indonesian Americans or Indonesian Europeans. We have started to continue to find some of those as well. So definitely, I love what our federation is doing, and I think they're really aggressive in trying to grow the game and get better and compete at the highest levels.
So if you had to predict right now at this moment, where would Indonesian team finish in the coming SEA Games? What's your prediction?
Oh man, you gonna put that on me like that? It's not until December. I haven't even seen the team. I haven't been into practice. I haven't done anything yet. But I know the expectation is high here around this country, and I know a lot of people want to win. So for now, I'm not gonna throw that out there. I'm not gonna give
Yeah.
any type of clickbait, but I will definitely say we're gonna be competitive. I think it's gonna be a fun style of brand of basketball to watch. And we'll be definitely prepared, I think, for the SEA Games, and it'll be exciting.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
yes.
Because you still need time to build up that team. So it's hard to predict right now because we
Yeah,
don't even know the rules if they allow naturalized players or not.
right. Exactly. So I could say something to you now and then say, oh, we're like Cambodia, we're allowing imports. It's like, oh, here we go. So we got to know those things first, and then we could probably have a better answer for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are given full control of Indonesian basketball from under 14 all the way up to the senior team, where would you start? Like the process?
Yeah, I think, like I said, the most important thing right now, I think in Indonesia is finding the connection between the federation and all the provincial perbasis, which is like the head of basketballs in each city. Each city has, a basketball chairman, I guess, and everybody runs it through there. So connecting with those and finding the lists of players, the best players in all of those places, and making sure that they're on our radar and things like that, so we don't miss any players. And then I think the next thing is just, developing what you care about. I think that's what's always important. So when you're at the 14-year-old level and you want to install maybe not the full offensive set, I think it's not as important at that age, but maybe about the rules and the structure and the standard and how you practice and how you set up your defense and maybe some of the calls and some of the ways you want to pass the ball and move the ball, some of these more simple things that you want to bring in, but they mean so much. I think that's the most important thing, which is creating a foundation so that everyone can be kind of on the same accord from 14 all the way up to senior, and everything is similar, because that's when you find the really good programs is like 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 23-year-olds. They're not all running different stuff. They're not speaking different languages. They're not, talking about, hey, we run this play over here, what do you guys do? Like, no, it's all connected. It's all similar. Every coach is going to have their own thing, which we would obviously allow. But most of what we're trying to do should be all connected and intertwined. And I think that can make it flow for years to come,
Is there united, I mean, how do I put it? Like a same principle or same style among all the city teams or province team and the national team?
Actually, that's the goal and hope that I have once I really get into this, because right now I'm still in my season, but we are starting to work obviously in parallel with this. But that would be the goal. I think as of now, I would definitely say no to that question. I think there's a lot of let's say unstructured basketball being taught, and that's no disrespect to anyone, but I think that just building a foundation of how do we want to play defense, how do we want to play offense, but also how do we want to teach the techniques, how we want people to see the game, look at the game, do we want people to cut, all the specificities of the game. We want to make sure that each coach is understanding of that, and then maybe creating, some sort of guideline or pamphlet or something that people can follow. And what we will do is invite all of the provincial coaches to attend a lot of the training camps when we do this, so they can obviously watch the practice, but also meet with us. We can have clinics, we can talk, we can sit down, they can share, and then we can make sure that they're involved, so that we build those relationships, because you don't want to always get a player. Not that it's always, everybody gets it, even in the NBA, but you don't always want to get a player that's totally, doesn't know anything about basketball besides dribbling and shooting, because that's what a lot is being taught right now is dribble, 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 shoot, develop those skills, and then you'll learn the rest. And I think the brain of the game is dropping at times, and I think that's also not being taught. Just feel the reads, the instinct of the game. And so that's something that, we have ideas, we have ways of teaching that. And I think just continuing to get into the community and welcoming the coaches to learn, because I think this whole thing is not about hiding information. It's about sharing information. So that's the most important thing.
Exactly. I totally agree. And just now you mentioned about the style that suits Indonesian basketball. So
Yes.
what identity do you want to build for this? Like when people see Indonesian basketball, we know they're gonna play like this style and stuff like that.
Yeah. On the surface right now, I think the vision is to, obviously, first you must be a tough basketball team. Every team that I've ever coached, physically tough, always up for a fight, defensive team. My 3 years in the IBL, we've been number 1, number 2, and number 5 in defense. My 3 seasons here with Powira, and right now if I last checked, we were number 3 in the league. So we've always been that standard, which has always kept us in games, even let's say our offense isn't that good. So being able to rely on that defense, even as people are seeing in the NBA, look how the Warriors won last night. They really just shut down the Rockets with defense, being such an offensive team that the Warriors are. So I think that that's going to be obviously the initial mindset is bringing, defense into the program much more. And then offensively, I just think playing the style that suits us, which is more up-tempo running. I think in years past, this team has been very slow. It's been more of a slowed down team and, playing a game really, without a lot of pace. And I think in Asia, it's very hard to do that because when you're playing teams that are bigger, taller, and stronger, you got to steal points and you have to be able to beat people down the floor, which we do well, which we shoot threes so well here in this country and have a lot of speed, right? We have a lot of speed in this country. So I think that suits this team and this country so much better. And even doing some different, tactics on defense. I can't tell you everything, but I will say that, there's going to be some things that I think could help. We don't know that yet, but we're definitely going to try out some new things. And I think, it'll be definitely a different look from Indonesia for